So grab your calculator and go ahead and clear the memory. It's second plus 712. Okay, so how many questions are on the review? 9. So that's how many questions will be on your exam. It's a one-day test, okay? So the first one, number 1, is one question that I'm not crazy about. We didn't do one like it in the unit. Um, it, it's not that I doubt that you can do it, it's that I worry that you won't remember the rule. Now, I'm not talking about exponents. I'm just talking about regular mathematics in elementary school when you learned about fractions. What did you have to do when you were dividing by a fraction? Keep, change, flip. So on your exam, very good, you're going to have a keep, change, flip problem. So write that down. You're going to have a keep, change, flip problem. And it's going to be the one that looks like this. It says the expression m to the 13th, n to the 7th divided by m to the 5th divided by n can be written as the product of two exponential terms with bases m and n for all values of m and n where the expression is defined. Fill in the blanks. Don't worry about all the words. The words can get overwhelming, okay? So we are going to rewrite this as keep the m to the 13th, n to the 7th. I can put it over 1, agreed? Change the division to what? Multiplication. And then you flip the fraction. So it becomes n divided by m to the 5th. I'm going to put a 1 on the end. With me there? Okay, so now that you've done that, the rest is easy. We're going to use PEMDAS, okay? What I would recommend that you do tomorrow is Wednesday, work slowly and write PEMDAS on each of your questions so you know what order to go in. Now, don't forget to do what? Move that S, okay? All right, so it looks like here we have multiplication and division. Which one comes first? Multiplication. So at the top, we have m's in the first fraction. Do we have them in the second fraction? No. So it's just m to the 13th. We have them in the second fraction, but not in the numerator. Agreed? Okay. In the first numerator, we have n's. Do we have them in the second numerator? Yes. And when you multiply, what do you do with those exponents? You add. So this becomes n to the 8th divided by m to the 5th. Now we're dividing, and when you're dividing, what do you do with those exponents? Subtract. We have m's in the numerator. Do you have them in the denominator? Yes. And so you're going to subtract and use that calculator. What's 13 minus 5? 8. Very good. You have n's on top. Do you have any on the bottom? No. So your final answer is m to the 8th, n to the 8th. It'll have a drop-down menu, and you select the correct answer. Okay? So remember that it's a keep, change, flip. All right? You're going to have a question that looks a lot like number 2. It says determine if the expressions are equivalent or not equivalent. Write a check mark in each row. So to determine if they're equivalent or not equivalent, work out the problem. So the first one in the table is a division problem. Agreed? Yes? Okay. So remember PEMDAS. All right? It's a fraction, so we're dividing. What do you do with exponents when you're dividing? Subtract. Okay, so let's do that. We have a's in the numerator. Do you have them in the denominator? Yes. So what's 5 minus 4? 1. B's, we have them in the numerator. Do you have them in the denominator? Yes. 7 minus 3 is 4. Then C's, you have them in the numerator. Do you have them in the denominator? No. So it's just C squared. Did I get this answer? Yes. So are they equivalent? Yes. So you're going to check off the box that says equivalent. With me there? Okay. So in the next one, it looks like we are multiplying. When we multiply, what do we do with those exponents? You add. Okay? So we have p's in the first monomial. Do you have them in the second monomial? Yes. What's 0 plus 6? 6. Do you have q's in both monomials? Yes. So add them. What's 6 plus 3? 9. Do you have r's in both monomials? So what do? Add them. And 5 plus 5 is 10. Are these two equivalent? No. So you're going to check off not equivalent. Questions there? All right. And then look at the next one. Again, we're multiplying. So when you multiply, what do you do with those exponents? Subtract. So you add. That's correct. You don't subtract, you add. All right. Do we have x's in both monomials? Yes. So what's negative 1 plus 4? 3. And then do we have y's in both monomials? Yes. What's 4 plus 6? 10. Now, are these expressions equivalent? No. When is it that you would take the x to the third and move it to the bottom? If it was negative, and it's not negative, correct? Okay. So the answer here is not equivalent. Questions so far? We're okay? All right. So now let's look at number 3. So number 3 worries me a little bit too, but you can handle it. It's an exponent to an exponent, okay? And when we have exponents to exponents, what do we do with them? Multiply. My concern is that the 1/4 would freak you out. It's just an exponent like it's any other exponent, okay? So you're going to break it up into parts. 81 to the 1/4, m to the 8th to the 1/4, n to the 20th to the 1/4. Well, the 81 to the 1/4, type it into your calculator. So it's going to be open parentheses, 81 close, and then caret. The caret is below the clear. Make sure you know where to find it. I won't tell you on test day. And then open parentheses, 1 divided by 4 close. And we get 3. Very good. Then on the m's, it's exponent to exponent, and you guys said to do what? Exponent to exponent, multiply, okay? So it's 8 times, open parentheses, 1 divided by 4 close, and we get 2. Very good. And then on the ends, it's 20 times the 1/4. Remember, your fractions need hugs. And we get n to the 5 to the 5th. So the final answer there is 3m squared n to the 5th. So don't be thrown off just because the exponent is a fraction, okay? Questions there for me? All right. So let's go to the next page. All right, so for number 4, we're doing two things. Inside of the parentheses, we're multiplying, and then we're raising it to an exponent. So if we think of PEMDAS, we have multiplication and exponents. What comes first? What comes before exponents? Parentheses. Isn't the multiplication inside of the parentheses? So shouldn't that come first? Yeah. So if we're multiplying, what do we do with those exponents? Add. So c to the 6th, c to the 3rd, c to the 6th, you add, and you get c to the 9. So we have c to the 9 to the 3rd. Now we have exponent to exponent. What do you do? And we get c to the 27. So they wrote it as c to the x, and they want to know the value of x. So what's the value of x? 27. Very good, kiddos. All right, so x equals 27. With me there? Okay. Number 5, it says for all values of j and k where the expression is defined, write the simplest form of the following. So we have everything going on here, all the things. So I'm going to write down my PEMDAS. So I have parentheses, but there's nothing to do inside. I can't simplify inside. All right. We have exponents. To exponents, do we have that? What do you think? I agree with you. We have exponent to exponent right here. Okay? So that's going to come first. And what do you do when you have exponent to exponent? Multiply. So you break it up into its parts though, kiddos. So it's going to be 5 to the 3rd, j to the negative 2 to the 3. Now the k doesn't have an exponent, but what's the understood exponent? 1. All right. So for the coefficient, just type it in. It's going to be 5 caret 3. And what do you get? 125. And if you have exponent to exponent, we said we would multiply. So on the j's, negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. And on the k's, 1 times 3, 3. All right. So here's what we have now. We have 125, j to the negative 6, k to the 3rd, times negative 3, j to the 4th, k to the 3rd, divided by 15, j to the 7th, k to the 4th. You'll be okay. All right. Yes. Now, do we have multiplication? Yes. Okay, we have multiplication at the top of the fraction. What do you do with the exponents? Add. Okay, good. So, the coefficients you multiply. So what's 125 times negative 3? Negative 375. Do you have j's in both monomials? So you add them. What's negative 6 plus 4? Negative 2. Do you have k's in both monomials? Yes. So what's 3 plus 3? 6. And we're going to divide by 15, j to the 7th, k to the 4th. Now we're dividing, and when you're dividing, what do you do with those exponents? Subtract. Now the negative 375, you just divided by the 15. What does that give you? Negative 25, okay? And then for the j's, leave it in the order that it's in. The top, which is negative 2, minus the bottom, which is 7. What's negative 2 minus 7? Negative 9. And then k's, 6 minus 4 is 2. Are we finished? No. Why are we not finished? We have a negative exponent. So what do you do with that negative exponent? Bring it down. Okay? So this gives us negative 25 k squared over j to the 9th. Good? Any questions for me? That's a lot, yes. I would say this one's the most challenging one on the test, but if you take it step by step, it's not too bad. Okay? All right, go to the next one. So for number 6, what is it that we have here? We have division and exponent. What comes first? Exponent. Parentheses do come first, but there's nothing to do inside them. Okay, well, I guess you could do the division first. So we could do the division first. Is that what y'all want to do, the division first and then the exponent? What do you want to do? Exponent? Okay, so let's do the exponent. So it is 4 squared, r squared squared, s squared squared. And then 5 squared, and then s, what exponent does the s have? 1, and then squared. What do you do when you have exponent to exponent? Multiply. All right, if you look at PEMDAS, exponent to exponent, you multiply. All right, now the 4 squared, just take care of that like usual. What's 4 squared? 16. R squared squared. It's what? R to the 4th. S squared squared? S4. What is 5 squared? 25. And then S to the 1st to the 2nd? 2. Very good. All right, kiddos, can we do anything with the 16 over 25? Can we reduce it or anything? No. So it's still 16 over 25. We have r's in the numerator, but do you have them in the denominator? No. So it stays r to the 4th. And then for the s's, you have them in the numerator. Do you have them in the denominator? Yes. And what do you do with them? Subtract. So what's 4 minus 2? 2. You guys with me there? What questions do you have? All right. Take a look at the next one. So it says write an expression that's equivalent to the following where all values of x and y are defined. So we're dividing. Okay? So again, you have PEMDAS. And when you're dividing, what do? Subtract. The 15 over 3, you just divide. What's 15 divided by 3? 5. Very good. You have negative 2 x's on top, 1 on bottom. What is negative 2 minus 1? Negative 3. Do you have y's on top and on bottom? So go ahead and subtract them. What's 3 minus negative 3? 6. All right. Are we finished? No. What do we need to do? Good. The x to the negative 3 has to become positive, and we make it positive by switching it to the bottom. So your final answer here is 5y to the 6th divided by x to the 3rd. What questions do you guys have? Are we okay? Okay. All right. So take a look at number 8. So what operation's taking place in number 8? Multiply. And when you multiply, what do you do with exponents? Add. Very good, kiddos. All right. Now the 4 and the 9, you just take care of it like you normally would. What's 4 times 9? 36. And then on the r's, we're going to add those exponents. So what's 4 plus 5? And on the s's, what's 3 plus 6? I would say easy peasy, yes? Yeah. Questions? Okay. Take a look at the next one. It says, write an expression equivalent to, and we have the expression. What two things are going on here? Good. We have division, we have exponent, we have multiplication. So which one are we going to do first? Exponent. And when you have exponent to exponent, what do? Okay. So in the numerator, you keep the p to the 6th. You have q squared to the 5th. What does that become? 10. 2 to the 5th. Okay? Whoops, I don't know why I wrote p. It should be q. All right. Then, in the denominator, you still have p to the 3rd. So what do I do now? So we're dividing, so we subtract. Very good. You have p's on top. Do you have them on the bottom? Yes. 6 minus 3 is 3. You have q's on top. Do you have them on the bottom? No. So it just stays q to the 10. With me there? Okay. And that's it, kiddos.